Plus, tonight's 13th juror question. This battle in the courtroom between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard has taken its toll on everyone involved, and it's not even half over. So, who do you think has been damaged more so far, Johnny or Amber? Buckle your seatbelts. This hour of closing arguments starts right now. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. Great to have you aboard. Day 4 for Johnny Depp on the witness stand, facing more cross-examination. Johnny Depp trying his best to tell his story to the jury and to try to convey to the public, to the jury, to everyone that he's not a wife beater. He didn't commit acts of domestic violence. And this is the important part. This is a defamation case. And Amber Heard's words were not only untrue, they also damaged him and damaged his career. Well, today on cross-examination, Johnny Depp facing what I call a real rapid-fire cross-examination, classic cross-examination, where it's not so much about the answer, it's more about the question, right? This is the defense really trying to make their arguments to the jury through the questioning of Johnny Depp. And it was about undermining his career and where his career was before Amber Heard ever wrote that op-ed in the Washington Post. Take a look.
The first one is entitled, is from The Guardian. Do you see that?
Apparently drunk.
Yes, and this is an article from November 15th, 2014, entitled, Apparently Drunk Johnny Depp Cut Off at Hollywood Film Awards Ceremony, correct?
That's what it says, yes, sir.
And the next article is an article from May 7th, 2016. It's entitled, Johnny Depp, Friends and Family Seriously Concerned About Him, Here's Why.
Yes,
correct?
How did they know?
The next article from May 1st, 2017, before
Yes,
Ms. Heard filed for a restraining order, a year and a half before she published, no, sorry, this would be after, May 1st, 2017. The headline is, Johnny Depp has a clear and epic sense of entitlement, ex-managers say.
Yes.
Published in the Hollywood Reporter, correct?
I was in a lawsuit with him, sir.
The next article from May 10th, 2017 is entitled, Johnny Depp, a star in crisis and the insane story of his missing millions. Did I read that right?
That's straight from the same lawsuit, sir.
The next article, also from May 10th, 2017, a year and a half before the op-ed was published, says, Johnny Depp reportedly drank heavily and was constantly late on the new Pirates movie set. Did I read that right?
You did, reportedly.
The next article, also from May 10th, 2017. Mr. Depp,
this is a pathetic attempt.
Mr. Depp, please just respond to the question that I'm asking you.
What's your question, Mr. Rottenborn?
The next document, an article published in Vanity Fair on May 10th, 2017,
yes, sir,
is entitled, Johnny Depp's Financial Woes Might Sink the Next Pirates of the Caribbean. Did I read that right?
You did. I don't know
the
how
next
my
article,
financial woes would do
May
that.
25th, 2017, a year and a half before the op-ed was published, an article entitled, Where Did It All Go Wrong for Johnny Depp? After a string of flops and a ton of bad press, Johnny Depp's star power looks as wobbly as Jack Sparrow on a plank. Did I read that right?
You read that very, very well.
The next one, Hollywood Reporter, May 27th, 2017. Headline, Pirates of the Caribbean, the diminishing returns of Johnny Depp. Did I read that right?
You certainly did. Hollywood Reporter were very nice to me at the time.
July 12th, 2017. Why are all of Johnny Depp's movies bombing at the box office? Did I read that right?
You certainly did.
November 4th, 2017, a year and a month before Amber published the op-ed. Headline, Johnny Depp allegedly showed up drunk to movie premiere, reports say. Did I read that correctly?
Reports say. This is hearsay. is
June
it not?
21st,
Your favorite
2018,
word?
6 months before the op-ed was published. Vanity Fair article, "The Real Reason Johnny Depp Used an Earpiece on a Film Set."
I think that was
I read
explained in
that
court the
correctly?
other day. Oh, you did, yeah.
June 21st, 2018, 6 months before the op-ed was published. A Rolling Stone article entitled "The Trouble with Johnny Depp." Multi-million-dollar lawsuits, a haze of booze and hash, a marriage gone very wrong, and a lifestyle he can't afford inside the trials of Johnny Depp. Did I read that right?
You did. You should read the article. It's
And the last
wonderful.
one, June 22nd, 2018, the Daily Mail, "Vodka for breakfast, 72-hour drug binges, and spending sprees that beggar belief. Alison Boshoff reveals why Hollywood's reeling over what's being called Johnny Depp's career suicide note." Did I read that correctly?
You did. Who's Alison Boshoff and how does she know?
Who won that battle? Who won that battle? This is part of the big finish for the defense on cross-examination. Did they bury Johnny Depp? Did Johnny Depp win that battle? Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III is with us. In Stamford, Connecticut, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland. And in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. It's like the Big East on Monday nights here. All right, Al, I'll start with you. Who's winning that battle?
Well, you know, he came across, I thought, pretty well, Johnny, on that. Except though, I got to tell you, Vin, that like I was having deja vu as I was watching it. And then I remembered what I was thinking about. If you ever watch him inside the actor's studio, he was exactly the same way. His little quips, the way he talks, that low, dropping it, coming back up, getting, you know, like trying to get a smile, trying to get a giggle, trying to get a laugh. It was exactly like inside the actor's studio. It's remarkable. And what's interesting is that, you know, there's like 3 questions that are always asked in that. One is, what is your favorite word? And he said, why? And then they said, well, what is your least favorite word? He said, no. And they said, well, what happens when you come to heaven and you face God and he sees you for the first time? What will God say? And he said, wow. And those 3 words sum up this entire trial. Why is he doing this? No, it's not helping him. And when he dies, God's going to go, wow, you really screwed up your career.
Darnell, who's winning that battle on cross?
Well, I think Johnny clearly won that battle. I've been watching this trial all week, and I thought in the beginning you couldn't pay me $1 million to watch it. Now I'd pay 1 million alpacas to watch it. I think it's become more interesting. It's really a story about human life. Johnny, I'm learning so much about his life and what he went through. And I think when you have this attorney sitting there asking questions such as, did I read that right? And Johnny's like, yeah, you read it right. The attorney never said, is that true? He just kept saying, did I read that right? And if you judge by the laughter I heard in the background, it's clear that Johnny kept his composure and he won that battle, hands down. I have to give it to Johnny all the way.
Okay, Jennifer Brandt, I want to play for you another part of the big finish of the cross-examination to see if the Amber Heard and her team did a little bit better in this part. Let's watch.
The only thing that this article states, Mr. Depp, is that in 2016, Amber made accusations of domestic abuse. Correct.
It was clear that she'd made allegations in 2016.
And she
so
did that when
then,
she
yes.
obtained a restraining order against you in 2016, correct?
Yeah, I suppose, yes. Yeah,
And even if you disagree with the accusations that she made against you in May 2016, it is a true fact that she did make those accusations in 2016 and got a restraining order against you, correct?
Objection compound asked and answered.
Sustain the objections. Next question.
To your knowledge, The words that Ms. Heard used in this article about getting a restraining order against you in 2016, those are true, correct?
I'm sorry?
Johnny,
words that Ms. Heard
the
used-
document.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. If you want.
Can you go to the third paragraph? Pull up the third paragraph, please. The statement that then 2 years ago, Ms. Heard became a public figure representing domestic abuse. That is true, isn't it?
I'm not sure what we're looking at.
Objection.
Oh, I see it.
Calls for a legal conclusion.
So I'll sustain the objection. I'll
Is not.
sustain the objection.
And in 2016, for the first time publicly, Ms. Heard accused you of domestic abuse, correct?
In 2016?
Yes.
That's correct.
No further questions.
That was the big finish. But Jennifer, before you chime in here, I just want to point out, and this happened throughout the cross today, and it's been happening throughout the whole trial, but what a great job by the judge in making all these calls on hearsay and making the rulings fast and keeping everything moving, because there were a lot of bumps in the road today as the lawyers are battling, but the judge kept complete control and kept everything going very well for the jury, which is the most important part of this. Okay, Jennifer Brandt, the big finish here by the defense, by Amber Heard's defense on cross-examination. Your thoughts?
I don't think the finish was so good, Johnny. I thought the defense did a much better job. I disagree with Al and Darnell. I think the defense did a much better job with the earlier questioning when they were asking, when they were reading those articles over and over again. I thought that was so effective because that showed how the press was really trashing him even before Amber made these statements and in the op-ed. So, I mean, he was having, I think that showed he was having problems with his career even before that. He's saying it's all because of her, but clearly based on those titles of the article, and he didn't have to say they were true, just to hear them over and over and over again sounded pretty convincing to me. On the finish, Vinny, I don't think it was so good because what happened was, I mean, the defense lawyer was doing a pretty poor job of questioning with, the Johnny's lawyer jumping in, objecting time and time again, that it got very confusing. And I think if it's confusing for us as lawyers, it's even more confusing for a jury because they're paying more attention to the objections and the judge sustaining them than really what the questions were. And then Johnny's sitting there looking confused like he really didn't understand the question. I think he understood the question. I think it was his acting ability showing there. And I don't think it was so effective in terms of, wrapping things up. I just think it was just a mess sort of at the end.
Al, do you think these 4 days is really what it was all about for Johnny Depp? 4 days to take the stand and get the attention of everyone? Because let's be honest, from the moment he took the stand till when he finished, the number of people around the nation, around the world that are watching has just literally exploded around the world with the numbers of people who were talking about this and talking about Johnny Depp.
This was the peak, and it's only going to be downhill from there. I think Amber Heard, when she gets on the stand, is going to be a big draw. But this was the chance for him to shine. This was the chance for him to take the lead. It was his chance for him to demonstrate that, he was the victim in all of this. And quite frankly, he didn't do it. It didn't come across that way. As I said before.
Does he come across, let me ask you this, and we'll go around the horn. Everyone give me your perspective. After he testified now, does he come across as someone who is, and let's do the UK case right now. Did he come across to you as a wife beater? Would you call him a wife beater? Al, once, yes or no, why?
I would say,
sounds like a no if you're not saying yes.
Well, I have to say that he is definitely a person who has inflicted domestic violence. That doesn't necessarily have to be beating someone. That can be other things, throwing things at people, doing things like that, the head games that he was playing, writing in his own blood,
and
making the comments that he made. That's domestic violence.
And that's where I see the difference here. It seems that Amber Heard and her team focusing on other types of abuse not focusing so much on physical abuses, which is what a wife beater does. Darnell Crossland, it's not this case, but it was the UK case that he lost. The judge over there believes he's a wife beater. What do you think?
I think he did a great job. I think starting to humanize himself from start to finish, how he grew up. His father was a sweetheart. His father wouldn't hurt a fly. He explained that his mother had mental abuse that was worse than the physical abuse. And because of that, he said to himself, I'm never going to hurt anyone. And so he might have yelled and screamed. And as a judge in the UK said, there have been some incidents of harassment, but no one said that he's put his hand on anybody. He's acted out at times, but he clearly said that because of the way his mother treated him when he grew up, he would never hurt anyone. And I think he's won this trial by making the world see that Amber is the one that's the crazy one and trying to blame him. That's all he wanted. He doesn't need $50 million.
All right, Jennifer Brandt, we only have like 10 seconds because Al took all your time as usual.
As always. No,
right?
He's not a wife beater, Vinny. He's not a wife beater. Messy divorce, messy marriage. Should have never married her. They were not right for each other, and I think that's what we're seeing here.
Okay, when we come back, there's been a lot of talk about Johnny Depp's severed finger. But why are we talking so much about Johnny Depp's severed finger if it's a defamation case where he's alleging that she lied when she called him a domestic abuser? Why is his finger so important, or is it? That's next.
So I had lost the tip of my right finger. And so I'm saying to him, I've now cut off my left finger to remind me never to cut my right finger off again. That's not, I mean, when you say I got my finger cut off or I cut my finger off or this or that, it doesn't necessarily mean that you did it yourself. And again, I'm a guitarist and have been since I was 12, and that was the only piece that I found in my life at the age of 12 where I knew what I knew who I could escape into music and learn music. And the last thing, I'm a guitar, I mean, I still play the guitar with, it's still my first love, aside from my children. There's no reason in the world why I literally would cut my own finger off to ruin this beautiful opportunity that I was given at 12 to learn how to play the guitar.
That was Johnny Depp on the stand today describing how playing the guitar was his first love, of course, aside from his children, right? Clearly painting a picture for this jury of the importance that it has in his life. Well, we took a look at Depp's official Instagram page and we found videos of Depp playing the guitar. Take a look. Now, Depp used his love of the guitar as a reason as to why he couldn't have possibly have severed his own finger. And this issue of how Depp's finger got severed has become a big point of contention throughout this trial. On direct, he described his version of events, saying a vodka bottle thrown by Amber Heard shattered his hand, and took off the tip of his finger.
I opened the bottle and I poured myself a shot. Drank it. Ms. Heard was flinging insults left, right, and center, and she then grabbed that bottle and threw that at me. She threw the large bottle, and it made contact and shattered everywhere. And I honestly didn't feel the pain at first at all. I felt no pain whatsoever. What I felt was, I felt heat. I felt heat, and I felt as if something were dripping down my hand, you know. And then I looked down and realized that the tip of my finger had been severed.
Well, then on Cross, the defense brought up text messages where Depp told his own doctor that he was the one who cut off the tip of his finger, or did he? Take a listen.
This is a text from you to Dr. Kipper on, it's in the timestamp issue. I believe it was sent on March 8th, 2015 in Australia, timestamped March 7th, 2015. Do you see that?
I do, sir.
I'm so very sad. I cut the top of my middle finger off. What should I do? Except, of course, go to a hospital. I'm so embarrassed for jumping into anything with her. F the world. Did I read that right?
Yes, Mr. Rottenborn.
So even as you are ranting about Ms. Heard to Dr. Kipper, even as you were talking about her ambition and expressing your objections to that, you still admit to him that you cut the top of your middle finger off, correct?
Objection, compound.
Sustain as compound.
You're complaining about her ambition in this text to her, to Dr. Kipper, correct?
I'm realizing that her ambition is far stronger than her supposed feelings for me, yes.
And there's nothing about this text that's trying to protect her.
Protect her? From what?
And you tell Dr. Kipper, I cut the top of my middle finger off in this text, correct?
It's just the way it was worded. It doesn't mean that I actually literally cut my finger off.
All right, so why are we spending so much time on his finger, number one? And number two, what does that actually mean when he says that? Let's bring back in our think tank. Darnell Crosland, let me ask you, is him saying I cut off my finger kind of like after that football game that I played in 7th grade where I broke my leg, where I really didn't break it? It was the kids from Hazel Grammar School who piled on top of me and purposely did that. I digress. But I didn't break my leg, right? It was the kids from Hazel that broke my leg, but I say I broke my leg. Is that the way Johnny Depp is explaining all this?
Yeah, I think that's what he wants us to believe. And, you know, you typically don't just call your doctor and start complaining about your wife cutting off your finger. You try to keep that stuff kind of private because it's still your marriage. So you would say, I cut off my finger or my finger got cut off. And you say in this ambiguous way not to go into this detail because the question is going to open up to what problems are you having with your wife? And so I think it's fair. I don't think I'm going to agree with Al on this one. I see him shaking his head. It's not credible, but I think that's what he was heading to. But the delivery wasn't great. But I think it's fair to not go into details about your marriage with your doctor.
Jennifer Brand, let me ask you, we're spending a lot of time on his finger. Does it, at the end of the day, does it really matter? How much does it matter in this case? Because the case is not about that. The case is the allegation against him that he was abusing her.
Yeah, but I think it's important, Vinny, because and it goes to, you know, were they just battling each other? Because I think part of this is that they were in Australia and she said he locked her up for like 3 days and was beating her up. And it was just a messy scene during that whole time. So if it turns out that she cut his finger and he didn't cut his own finger off, you know, I think that does make a difference because it shows that there was abuse coming from her side as well, that she's not so innocent as she seems. She's not a battered woman. She's tough and she's fighting back. And I have to say that despite what Al and Darnell said about the finger, and I do have a little problem with the vodka bottle cutting the finger. I think the guitar part was really good, was really smart. And I believe that he wouldn't want to cut his own finger off because he enjoys playing the guitar so much. So why would he do that? Why wouldn't he cut off another body part if he was going to cut something off and not his finger? But so I kind of believe him on that. And I think it gives some background and explanation as to why he wouldn't do this. I don't know why he went around painting the room with his bloody finger. That's another problem, but we're not talking about that right now.
Yeah,
so.
I'm very tempted right now to end the segment right now and bring in a body language expert next segment just to read Al's body language while everyone else is talking.
I don't think you need an expert for that, Vinny.
Right.
I don't think you need an expert.
Al, you're the only one of us I think was in a rock band. So
Yes.
would you really cut your own finger if you love playing the guitar?
Well, no, I would not. My middle finger would not be so important. I'm a lefty, so it's a little bit different for fretting and playing. With regards to chords, yeah, I would need my hand, my right hand. He's not. He's a righty, so he could be playing with a pick, so it's not going to be so terrible. And like I said, he didn't do it to himself. He did it by accident. He slammed the phone down and he cut himself. And then what did he do to try to make the situation worse? He starts like the Manson family, writing in blood on the wall, okay, talking about it like it's a nonchalant thing that happens. Everyone down the block does this every once in a while. You get a cut finger, you start writing in blood on the wall. It's a smart move.
But Al, how can you cut your finger with the phone? That makes as much sense as a vodka bottle. How could you really cut your finger off with a phone? I don't think that would work either.
Is there a glass screen on a phone? Is there a glass screen on a phone?
Then why isn't the vodka bottle?
Because if there's a glass screen on a phone and I slam it down and I have it in front and the glass breaks.
That's just as likely as a vodka bottle.
Right off. That makes more sense.
I don't buy it.
That makes the shard of glass with regards to the glass screen makes more sense, okay, than a vodka bottle being flung and only breaking the skin of the middle finger. If his entire hand was cut, I might say that might be something that's right. But if I just my phone,
we got to leave it there. We're out of time for this segment. Well done. When we come back, though, we're going to switch gears just a little bit because we have big news tonight. Alec Baldwin shot and killed Helena Hutchins, right? We know that. Tonight, newly released evidence from the investigators. We've got our hands on it, and I've got video of Alec Baldwin drawing his weapon. It's a cross draw. We'll show you where his finger was next.
She's handed me an empty gun, and we only were loads when we were ready to shoot. And everybody was prepped. Yep. Earplugs, everything.
All right,
Where should I go?
Mr. Baldwin, who's the director on scene?
The guy that was shot in the shoulder.
The guy that was shot?
He's in the,
okay.
Where is he now?
I think he's in the ambulance.
Do you guys have a production car? Or?
There's an AD. His name is Dave. I'm waiting for you right now.
Okay. I'm happy to stay right here and do everything that he's doing.
Well, my lieutenant just wants you to stay away from everybody and not to talk to nobody. So I was
wait right here.
We can wait right here and have everybody step back, or we can wait in the back of a patrol unit, but I prefer to not put you there, okay?
Yeah.
That is just moments after Alec Baldwin shot and killed Helena Hutchins and also shot the director who survived. That's body cam footage from one of the responding officers. The investigation is continuing, but investigators have released a lot of what they have uncovered here. What I want to show you next is Alec Baldwin inside the church where they're shooting this scene. In the spot where he was when he shot and killed Helena Hutchins. Now, what you're going to see, there's no audio to it. It's just video, but this took place just prior to the shooting, okay? There is no video of the actual shooting of Helena Hutchins, but what I'm showing you now is what they were doing just prior to that. Part of the investigatory materials that have been released that we're showing you tonight. So here it is. Let's watch it again, slow motion. And there's a couple things that pay attention to here. His finger, his forefinger and his thumb, which seems to flick back the hammer as well. But it looks like his finger is like on that trigger in whatever they were doing in this rehearsal that they were shooting. And as you watch the entire video, you can see that he's talking back and forth with folks there. But again, there's no audio of it. We just have this video. Now let me show you Alec Baldwin, his statement related to the civil case here. Baldwin asked Hutchins what she would like to see to prepare her camera angle for the scene. Baldwin did not perform a cross draw of the gun. He pulled the gun out slowly without issue and held it still before Hutchins began giving any directions to him. So what's described there by Baldwin in the filing, much different than what we're seeing taking place just prior to the shooting. So I want to talk about this evidence tonight with our think tank. Let's bring him back in. Al Wunsch, Darnell Cross, and Jennifer Brandt with us. We're going to have a lot more on this tomorrow night on the show, by the way, because there's a lot more information, but we got it late in the day. There were some computer problems, et cetera, with the distribution of all this, but we've got that. Jennifer Brandt, as you see, what's happening there is much different than what was described by Alec Baldwin of the moment when he actually shot and killed her. Now, that's not on video, so this is the only video that they have. So how important do you think it is for Alec Baldwin's version to be what investigators believe in this case versus what we're seeing taking place just prior to the shooting?
Well, I think it's very important for Alec Baldwin because I think what we're seeing now is not the same. It does, I mean, I don't know anything about guns, but it does look like he's pulling it out. And as you said, his thumb moves back, his finger is on the trigger. And so when did this take place? How close in time to the actual shooting? And did something happen unintended, when he was doing that? And, as you said, it's not exactly the same time that she was shot. So then was he doing something different? I guess that's what we want to know. Was he doing more of the action that he described in the lawsuit as opposed to what we're seeing here, which is not that. It appears that he is pulling it out and looks like he's ready to shoot it as opposed to just holding it, which is what he said.
Right. And Al, number one, he says there was no cross draw. That's important because allegedly he did not take the cross draw training that was offered to him, number one. Number two, it also said his finger wasn't on the trigger. And in this video, it is. So your thoughts about this newly uncovered evidence and how it relates to potential criminal charges against Alec Baldwin, which may be involuntary manslaughter.
The interesting thing is that you can see it's a little jerky with regards to how he cocks the pistol, pulling the hammer back with his thumb. It looks awkward, and I'm sure that he wasn't happy with the way that was being done, because a guy like this who's supposed to be a quick draw would want it to be a much smoother process, and it's not the way he's showing it there. But he is quoted as saying that the gun must have misfired because he didn't pull the trigger and he didn't cock it back. So he's got a little splaining to do, as we say in the I Love Lucy show, with regards to why this situation is the gun is cocked back and he's got his finger on the trigger. If he was doing this just to demonstrate, the finger should not be on the trigger. It should be next to the trigger, which is the safe way of handling a handgun with regards to something along those lines. But you can see he's jerking his thumb to make it look smooth that he's trying to cock it back. And it's not, I'm sure if I was the director, I would not be happy with that. And I'm sure if he's a perfectionist, which I believe he is, that he wouldn't be happy with that being done. So that's why I think he definitely was playing with that weapon and he wanted to get it done right. And I think that he's going to be proven wrong with regards to how the gun was cocked and that he fired.
Darnell Crossland, once again, only about 15 seconds. You know why.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, there's only intentional killing, which is murder, and unintentional, which is manslaughter. And if it's going to be unintentional, they have to show reckless disregard for human life. So that's not going to be present here at all. And when you pull a gun out, you're supposed to pull that gun out with the intent to kill. And so if a movie is supposed to replicate life, his finger's supposed to be on the trigger. You don't pull a gun out and have your finger next to the trigger. So he did everything right, but like Al said, he wasn't smooth. So Al can't have it both ways. He can't pull it out smooth and do it right, but not have his hand on this trigger, because no one in the movie world is going to believe it. So he did it right. He wasn't smooth, and there's no liability based on what we see so far. Ms. Hutchinson was directing him how to hold it higher and what to do with it. So this is not going to hurt him.
We shall see. And I just want to make clear, Al Wunsch, appreciate all of your insight. I never want to cut you off. I just want the record to clearly establish that. Okay.
Vinny, I'm not 17-0 like Darnell, so
right.
I just appreciate the opportunity.
When we come back, we're going to hear from you, the 13th juror, and there's been a lot of stuff thrown around inside the courtroom in Fairfax County, Virginia, between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. But based upon where we are now, which isn't even halfway through the trial, who's been damaged more so far? Johnny Depp or Amber Heard? Your verdict when we return.
I was sitting on the floor, crying. I mean, tears streaming down my face, begging another human being to please give me the meds that will take this away. And she would not. She was adamant that, nope, it's not time, 4 o'clock.
Mr. Depp, these are two texts that you sent to Isaac Baruch, who the jury's heard from on October 17th, 2016 and October 18th, 2016. Can you just read for the jury that first text?
You'd like me to read that?
Yes, please.
Sure, Mr. Rottenborn. Is the slippery whore that I donated my to for a while staying there?
And can you please read the text under that, please?
Certainly. I'm not sure I sent that text, but...
Well, I'll read it. You say...
No, I'll read it. It's fine if you'd like to hear that.
You know, I'll go ahead and read it, sir. You tell Mr. Baruch on October 18th, 2016, hopefully that rotting corpse is decomposing in the trunk of a Honda Civic, 2 exclamation points. Did I read that right?
You did.
A lot of intimate details, text messages, audio recordings, testimony revealed inside of this courtroom. But where we are right now in this trial, who's been damaged more, Johnny Depp or Amber Heard? We begin with our 13th juror comment of the day, coming from Colleen, who says, I think Amber has been damaged. She's very antagonistic, won't let Johnny leave in order to avoid physical confrontation. If I'm on the jury, I would have to wonder why she taped so many conversations. She did this for years. She knew she would end up in a courtroom one day. Let's bring back in our think tank. All right, to Darnell Crossland, your thoughts. Who's been damaged more here, Johnny Depp or Amber Heard?
I agree with the 13th juror, Colleen. Colleen said it best. I mean, why are you taping something that should be not done in a natural relationship? Well, here we are, just me and Jen and Al, and we're just getting along great. And if we go out next week, I'm not taping anything. You know, I'm just with pals from CourtTV. But Colleen said it best. Why are you taping things? She knew she's going to end up in court. And the truth is coming out now that she's sort of made this stuff fit her narrative.
Millie tonight, he is getting crucified with his own words. I always watch what you put in print. It will always come back to haunt you. Jennifer Brandt, have Johnny Depp's own words done more damage than has been done to Amber Heard?
Well, I'll agree that his words are unpleasant, and it's a little, you cringe when you hear someone, you read some of those text messages, even me as a family law attorney who sees things like that all the time. But I agree with Darnell. Amber is the one that's being hurt more in this case because she's not coming across as a battered woman, as someone who's been beaten up by Johnny. She's taping conversations. She's antagonizing him at every turn. unless she comes across with something really amazing during her examination, I don't know. I think it's going downhill for her in the court of public opinion, at least.
Here's Marcy. We've already heard the worst about Johnny since her accusations. She has definitely been damaged more so far with all the things about her we are just learning. I don't know if it's possible for her to reclaim the image of being a victim. At the very least, people will see her as a co-abuser. Al, you know, we've been talking about the why of this lawsuit. Is it possible that it's a spite suit? That Johnny Depp just wanted to make Amber Heard look bad regardless of anything else?
It's a good possibility of that. I mean, why would you subject yourself to this, though? It really makes no sense to me. And the fact that she's tape recording stuff, I'm not as surprised about that because let's face it, okay, this is Jack Sparrow you're up against. You saw the people that were outside in front of the court talking about how wonderful he is, how great he is, and everything else. And anything I say, you're not going to believe me because he's Johnny Depp. So I need to make those tapes to protect myself. I don't see that as being something to be upset about. I think that's protection. And I think she was smart. And I think she did a brilliant move in keeping this testimony and keeping these statements and these text messages to show that this is not the character that you see saying yo ho ho in a bottle of rum. Okay?
Gotcha.
Jack Sparrow.
Al, the clock has run out on Al Wunsch tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. Thank you all so much. We'll see you again real soon. When we come back, folks, I have some work for you. I need your help when we come back.